How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and welcome back to a part 2 to yesterday's video. This is going to be covering synergies and how to create them yourself, or how to look for the ones you may be missing in someone's online build that you may be copying. Now, the last video covered gem setups and looking at defensive layers and that sort of things, and making like pseudo 7 links and the sort of stuff you may have missed. You can find that in the description. But in this video, I'm going to be teaching you some sorts of synergies, how to create synergies yourself, and just the stuff you may end up missing by looking at someone else's build, copying it, and then going, alright, why is this not half as good as what I'm seeing on screen right now? That's what I'm here to solve and to teach you how to fix yourself. Now, creating synergies is pretty easy to do, but requires a little bit of kind of game knowledge, but that is easily mitigatable by a few quick Google searches. So the first thing we're going to do to start creating some synergies is we're going to open up a Chrome tab right here. Now the reason we're going to do this is so we can type in unique items PoE, and this will give us access to a list of unique stuff. We can start seeing all of the armor, accessories, weapons, that sort of thing. Now, the reason that we go and look for this type of thing is because when you're gearing up a character, I would recommend generally looking for around 3 uniques maximum, I would say. I'm running 3 uniques here, or 4 uniques here actually. But the reason I say to do that is so that you can run 2 or 3 kind of build creating and build encompassing uniques, and then fill the rest of the slots with resistances, maximum life, that sort of thing. The sort of stuff that you need to just survive in PoE. And you can start using those few unique slots to create a more unique or more advanced build based on whatever skill gem you're opting for. Now, in our case, the build that I'm going to be kind of going off of will be from a couple of days ago in a video that I dubbed the air quotes best class in PoE, which was just my bread and butter Marauder skill tree, which allows you to play pretty much any Marauder build. We're going to take a look at what you can essentially start to adapt and create synergies with based around that build after you've decided on what skill gem you want to do. Just by looking at this list of unique items here, I should be able to give you at least a few ideas for basic synergistic types of builds. But before we get into that list, I'm going to show you the synergy I have in my current Berserker build right now. So it's really simple, because with Berserker, if we look at the Ascendancy, if we pop into the skill tree here, taking a look at Berserker, we can see I have access to Crave the Slaughter. This allows me to get Berserker's unique kind of effect, alright, which is called Rage. Pretty simple. All that ends up happening is when you kill an enemy, you gain 1 rage. Rage makes it so that for every point you have increased attack damage, increased attack speed, increased movement speed, but you also degenerate maximum life per point of rage. Now, when you get up to Rite of Ruin, you can double that effect, right? So, by going for something like this makes us realize that we need to get life regeneration and that sort of thing. So in my skill tree, I've opted for over like 14% max life regeneration, and that's just to sustain Berserker, and it's turned out quite well. That's not the synergy I'm talking about. The synergy I'm talking about is that you can take that concept, which is killing a bunch of stuff, and combine it with a different concept in Path of Exile called Rampage, which also goes off of killing a lot of stuff. So if we take a look at my gloves that I'm using right now, these are actually level 15 gloves. They're called Flesh and Spirit. What they allow you to do is they give you Rampage, right? But we'll take a look at some of the other stuff they have on them. They give you life regeneration. Note how I just said I needed life regeneration. They gives you attack speed. Rage gives you attack speed, right? This is just adding up to become better and better. You get 20% of your maximum life back on a Rampage, which is pretty much every 15 kills you get 20% of your maximum life back, which ends up becoming massively just amazing, honestly. It's fantastic. But another line here, which is even better, right? This is synergy on top of synergy on top of synergy, is gain 5 souls for Vol skills on Rampage. Now I'm using Vol Ground Slam, and I'm also using Vol Ancestral Warchief. So I get a ton of value from these gloves. Not only do I have Rampage, and Berserker, which are two mechanics I wanted to stack on top of each other, which are just kill-based mechanics, because I wanted to make a build based around, well, killing as much stuff as possible. Because, of course, we're playing Delve, and we want to try and go as far down as possible, kill as much stuff, that sort of thing. So I figured, let's make a Berserker who goes Berserk. And being able to combine, like, Rampage, Berserker, and then, here's even more, Blood Rage, which also synergizes with killing a bunch of stuff, right? So we have all of these kill timers ticking that push us to play faster, give us bonuses for playing faster and playing well, keeping up a tempo, keeping up speed, killing tons and tons of shit. You're able to literally get increased bonuses for doing that. You get more attack speed from Rage, you get more attack speed and damage from Blood Rage, and then scaling up to 1,000 kills, you get bonuses from Rampage exponentially. So now we want to start creating a build that's able to kill shit really fast, right? We have all of the kill-based bonuses, so now we want to start making a build that's able to kill and clear very quickly. So what do we want to start looking for then? We want to start looking for area clear, right? Kill as many things in one hit as possible. Amp its damage up, increase how much stuff it can kill in one swing as fast as possible, so we can go from pack to pack to pack with decent time and to be able to sustain our Rampage stacks, which you have to keep killing stuff or else the timer ends, right? It's not like Diablo where you just have to hit something. You have to actually be able to kill it. So then we want to start going for area of effect skills. So we look at, say, Earthquake, Tectonic Slam. In my case, I've gone for Ground Slam, right? Because you're able to do giant hits like this with certain area of effect nodes and that sort of thing. So we've picked our skill now. I've opted for Ground Slam. You could play Earthquake, like Vol Earthquake. You could play Tectonic Slam. You could play, I don't know, Consecrated Path could work potentially. Let's see, Cleave could work, because that's got a nice area of effect on it as well. And that sort of thing, right? But we're going to show you the Ground Slam variant that I've created here, and I can explain it for Cleave as well. So now we've selected our skill, right? Now we want to see if there's anything that synergizes with the skill. So I know by default that there's nothing that synergizes with Ground Slam just straight off, but there are jewels, unique jewels that will synergize well. So if we go into jewels here, we can literally start looking down the list of jewels. Now I know which ones they are, so I will just skip to them right here. Is it overwhelming? Oh, no, it's rapid expansion. I almost guessed it wrong myself. So I know that rapid expansion exists, right? You can figure this out by just looking down the list yourself. Let me go back up here. Just by scrolling down the list and taking a look at it. We can see here that it gives me Ground Slam increased angle, which allows me to get a broader Ground Slam, right? And we can also see that it will, if we have at least 40 strength and radius, Ground Slam has a 35% chance to grant an endurance charge when you stun an enemy, right? So now we know that we can get endurance charges from Ground Slam with this. This also gives us a few prerequisites. We know that we need 40 strength and radius. So now we start looking around at our skill gen, or at our sockets and stuff, our jewel sockets. And we want to make sure that we can get the 40 strength and radius. Here, we can get 1, 2, 3, 4. Just barely, alright? So that one works. If we come over to this one, we can come down here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in radius. So this works. If we come down here, though, and we look at this one, we have 1 that may be in radius, but I doubt it. That probably isn't in radius, and that most definitely isn't. So putting in a jewel here, for example, doesn't end up working. So you have to path your skill tree correctly to be able to get access to these sorts of synergies, right? So it gives you a sort of build path that you want to work towards to combine things together. You want to grab what else, or whatever else you need on your way there to minimize travel time, right? So that's looking at unique jewels. We can see that there is something that synergizes with Ground Slam. Take a look through jewels for your ability, whatever it may be. Hell, there's even Fireball right here, which you get at level 1. Ground Slam you get at level 1. Fireball you get at level 1. Ethereal Knives you can get pretty early on, right? And these skill gems are here. Just take a look for them and find out what you can find, right? And as a result, you can just start making synergies already in jewels. But now we want to go even further. We want to start creating We want to start using weapons and that sort of thing, and seeing which weapons are the best for our build. Well, now we can start deciding what ascendancy we want to go for, what sort of synergies we want to make with that. If we end up going for Chieftain and wanting to do elemental damage, then we can go for, say, Nagamu's Flame, which allows you to do a few different things. Let me go back here and go to axes here. I'll show you what a Nagamu's Flame is. If we scroll down to two-handed weaponry, Nagamu's Flame right here. Now, if you play a Chieftain as opposed to a Berserker, so you wanted to play Fire Ground Slam for whatever reason, you really like the Arsonist node or something, I don't know. Maybe you come across a cool unique that gives fire damage. You're like, okay, I want to make something around this. But you like Ground Slam and you want to make some synergies. So if you take the Chieftain Ascendancy, you can get 50% conversion, or 50% fire damage conversion, which makes it so that 50% of your physical damage becomes fire. Okay? That's fantastic. That means you get bonuses from fire damage affecting your base damage. But that's only 50%. Now, if we go back to our list of unique axes here, you can see our Nagamu's Flame gives us 50% fire conversion, right? So we have 50% from this, we have 50% from the skill tree, we now have 100% fire conversion. This means that we get bonuses from whatever's in the Chieftain skill tree, bonusing to our fire damage, but then we also get access to increased damage via Arsonist, right? Giving us fire damage. We can get more damage from elemental damage now, because that affects our weapon directly, because it's converted fully to fire. We get elemental damage in here, we get elemental damage from up here, right? You can get fire damage up here, that sort of thing, right? You can start planning your skill tree around doing that sort of thing. Say you wanted even more fire damage in your items here. Now, keeping in mind the 2 or 3 unique slots, we can opt for a belt. Like my belt is built around, of course, Berserker, but for the concept we're going for here, say we wanted to opt for belts, right? We wanted to opt for some kind of fire damage increasing belt. Now, I have one in mind because I did this for my Cyclone build to kind of push it as far as possible. But if we start scrolling down through here and looking around through some of these sort of belts here, we'll come down to a Doriani's Invitation. And you'll see you can get one that has increased fire damage, right? 20 to 30% increased fire, which is exceptional. We're looking for increased fire damage because we just got our fire conversion, right? So now if we look at this, we have 10% chance to ignite during flask effect. All right, whatever. But then we have 0.2% fire damage leached as life. Now we're starting to get life leech as well, combined with all of this. It also has resistances, armor, strength. This thing is putting out a ton of value for us. Most uniques don't have 1, let alone 2 resists, right? So going for a Doriani's Invitation, if you're playing some sort of fire conversion build, for example, is exceptional, because if you combine this with your Nagamu's Flame, you already have increased fire, or you have 100% fire conversion, you get increased fire damage from this, you get fire damage leached as life, right? You're starting to see some things come together now. So if you're opting for that sort of thing, then you can start going for some elemental damage gems, boosting your elemental damage that way. Taking your Ground Slam, and instead of linking it up like I have to physical damage, you can put in increased LE damage, concentrated effect to get more damage, that sort of thing, right? That's just kind of the basics of creating synergies, or just, how do I say this correctly? Taking an idea and running with it, right? That's the thing about Path of Exile that I love so much, is that was the fastest 13-minute explanation of my life. I looked over at my OBS and I just realized we were 15 minutes into this video, and there was still a little bit more I wanted to talk about, but that's the thing, right? Is I've done that already in my Cyclone build, right? So I already knew the basic synergies of that. But taking an idea or a concept and being able to run with it and just see how many things you can add to it is where it starts to get exceptional in Path of Exile, right? Those basic ideas that I just showed you is just encompassing looking through like unique items. And you can do this exact same thing that I did. I was able to tell you all of that extremely quickly for a showcase of the video, right? Because I wanted to show you what it was like to create something. I already knew these existed, and I was going to use them for the video. But if I were to look through these to figure out something for my current build, for example, say I wanted to look at unique axes for something to replace my currently Kyrie Maul, if I wanted to, I can take a look through this and start guessing at some of the types of things I could go for. Say in my current build, I could use a Sinvictus Medal, potentially, right? Because this gives me increased area of effect per rampage kill, which ends up increasing exponentially. It also gives me rampage, right? So this means that if I wanted to use this, I could free up my glove slot by not having to take this for rampage if I wanted to, and I could free this up for something different, right? This gives me an extra slot to opt for different things. Or, in my case, I would probably go for an Asterius Disfavor once I end up getting rich and geared, because it is an exceptional weapon that gives me +2 level to socketed support gems. If you saw yesterday's video, you saw how powerful support gems were, right? We can take this and boost up those support gems even more and get increased weapon range. This is indirectly increased area of effect. So I end up getting not only the same area of effect bonus my current weapon is giving me, but I also get +2 to all socketed gems. I get physical damage, increased attack speed, bleed chance, and also, because it's axes, I can take the axe node on the skill tree right here, as opposed to the maces node. Which, you know what else that gives me? That gives me access to 10% chance to gain onslaught on kill. So now, if I'm taking axes or using an Asterius Disfavor, I can take this node, and instead of using onslaught in my actual gem setup itself, right here, I can now switch this out for faster attacks, right? You're starting to see things come together pretty much in front of your eyes just by looking at a few things and piecing together as much useful stuff as is humanly possible. And that was just planning around, what, a 2 to 3 unique limit? If you wanted to somehow make a build that used 4 to 5 or something like that and still manage to cap your resists, you can go absolutely haywire. That was using, what, 2 gems and 3 uniques, 3 uniques. I was able to create all those sorts of ideas for you. Yes, I knew them beforehand, but that is my thought process when looking to create synergies and the types of things that you want to look for when you're looking at someone else's build. You want to see which uniques all synergize together, because if you're missing one, you may be missing the whole shebang, right? If you're missing the one piece, say you've got the Doriani's Invitation, and you don't have the Nagamu's Flame, you're missing the most integral part of the synergy, right? You have the 2 ends of it, but you're missing the middleman that puts it all together. And that may be where you've got your problem. Because if you don't have 100% fire conversion, the fire leech is going to be literally half as effective and isn't going to end up panning out as well. The fire damage isn't going to be as useful because it'll be split between fire and fizz damage, and you won't get as much value as you possibly could. So you need to kind of watch out where you're going and make sure you're not missing out on the middleman when it comes to synergies. But I hope that helped you out. That is a, what, 15-ish minute video? Yeah, 18-minute video. Jesus Christ, that was another fast 5 minutes. I hope that helped you out. I had a lot of fun making this sort of thing. If there's any other concepts you guys want help with, let me know. I'm going to be doing a few videos coming up on one on Delve. I have a Delve Beginner's Guide in the works right now, as well as a leveling guide that people have asked for, so I'm going to be working on that. I don't know how I'm going to do it just yet, but stay tuned for those types of things. If you have any other ideas or anything like that, things that you want me to cover that you're still confused about, let me know in the comments down below. I am more than happy to keep making content on these sorts of things for you guys, because I love being able to help you. Stay tuned for streams tomorrow, and pretty much every single day. As always, take care, lads. So heaven if you sent us down.